No, I'm not certain. I had to Google this one. What's going on, guys? Matt with Blue Tail Survival. Thank you for swinging back by. As always, we really appreciate it. So, yeah, we'll just dive right in here. Again, these are just some options. I'll tell you which ones I like the most at the end of this. You know, for value, fit and finish, utilitarian, just best overall. First one I want to start out with was the Zero Tolerance 0350, made in the USA. Digging this knife quite a bit. Did have a flaw right out of the gate. We'll get to that in a second. Specs I'm going to pull off here. The blade is 3 1/4 inch S30V with a diamond-like coating. It is spring assisted. I don't have. I'm not like. Again, that's not one of those things that I look for in the knife. The handle is textured G10 with a liner lock. One thing I want to talk about this liner. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Let's see if I can get. That is a thick liner lock in comparison to a lot of other liner lock knives. I think that's a pretty cool feature. I don't know if it adds to the strength or not. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Zero Tolerance 0350 features speed safe opening system. I don't really, you know, there's pistons, there's axis, there's, you know, all sorts of this stuff. I'm just listing it as features because it's the only real identifying thing other than it's a knife that I wanted to talk about. This is ready for tip up, tip down, left and right-handed carry. That's a good feature. Not all knives have that. This one came in at $140 even at knifecenter.com. So the only real con I have with this knife is when you open this knife, there's a torsioning bar on the inside, and I had to look this up. You know, I had to do some research on this, and you can't hear it now, but that torsioning bar, there's a groove in the handle. And when the blade is open, there's no tension on it, so it kind of wiggles back and forth. Not a big deal at all, but when the grease that is in there kind of comes out, or whatever happens, if they didn't put enough grease, it rattles. Again, it wasn't a huge deal to me, but it did annoy me enough to do some research, and once I found out how easy it is to fix that, you know, I just took the handle off, packed a little bit more grease in there, and it's no big deal. The only problem with doing that now is I think I put too much grease in there, and if it sits in my pocket all day and gets warmed up, or if I squeeze it a little bit too hard, some of the petroleum jelly that I put in there to remove that rattle does seep out. It's not enough to even really notice it, but I can see it, and it's just one of those things in the back of my head. I really do like this knife. It's kind of got a unique index for me. Like when I grab it, my hand wants to come back, my hand wants to, or my thumb wants to rest on this jimping right here, which is fine. It feels very comfortable. A little less comfortable, but still comfortable, is to choke forward a little bit on this little divot here. But yeah, I like this knife a lot. Again, $140 at knifecenter.com. Expensive option, but a very cool option. Next up is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, also made in the US. Kind of a unique blade profile there. You know, pretty consistent with Spyderco's theme. Blade is 3 7/16, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna come in a little bit shorter than that. The cutting surface is a lot less, but you've got the jimping on the top and the bottom, which allows you to really choke up. Pretty decent feature, I think. Again, 3 7/16 S30V, and I'm really not sure of the coating. It's very, very similar to the Diamond Light coating, which it might very well be, but again, all the specs I pulled were off of Knife Center. If it didn't list it, I didn't include it. But it is coated. It's, again, textured G10 handles with a liner lock, and this liner, I don't know if you can call this a liner lock, but it's on the back. Which actually I think is easier to close than on the bottom. It features the bushing pivot system. Again, I don't know what that is. Not really going to dive into that too much. This one also is tip up, tip down, left and right carry, meaning you can move the pocket clip however you choose. This one came in at $137.97 on knifecenter.com. So very, very similar to the Zero Tolerance, same steel and everything. There are no cons other than maybe that kind of unique blade profile. Sorry, I shouldn't have worn a black sweater today. Other than that, unique blade profile, I don't see any cons. I really like this one also, and I just recently got both of these, so I'm excited to kind of put those through the test. But again, nice EDC knife, not too big, not intimidating, not bad. Next up is the Benchmade Griptilian, also made in the U.S. And again, this one's got serrations on it. You can get it with or without. One cool thing about these, you got a lot of different options for the handle, color of the handle. This one comes in at 3.45 inches. This is 154 cm with BK1 coating. No idea what that is. And again, very similar, a little bit different than the coating on the other two. The handle is it just says molded grip texture. I'm not really sure. This has the axis lock system, which I think Benchmade is become pretty famous for. I'm pretty sure this is their design. I just like it because you can close it with one hand. Tip up, left and right carry, so you can't do tip down with this. I've been flirting around. I've left my tip ups and tip downs as I've purchased them, and I've been playing with them, pulling them out of the pocket, seeing which one I like more. And I do notice a difference, obviously, because the blade's on the other end, but I don't have a preference of either one. So those aren't. I mean, I know that's a big deal to some people, but not really to me. This one came in at $114 even at KnifeCenter.com. The only con to this knife, and I guess you can't really call it a liner, but you'll see the aluminum or stainless, I'm not sure what that is, right there and right there. Now this is not a big deal, a deal breaker at all for me, but if you move the blade up and down, you can feel those adjusting slightly. Has no effect on the function of the knife whatsoever. It's just one of those things that's there. It's always in the back of my head, like something wrong with this knife. But again, another good option, and again, you can get that without serrations. Alright, the next one was a military issued knife. Wasn't a big fan of this knife at all because it's Gerber, and this was a while ago when I didn't like it. I do like USA made products from Gerber, and this is the 06 Auto with the Tanto blade and serrations. You can get this in a drop point. I think just drop point and Tanto, but you can get this with or without serrations. The blade is 3.8 inches, S30V with a black oxide coating. So I have some discoloration in this knife. I'm not sure if that has a factor in anything, if it got heated up at some point. Like I said, this knife was in the bottom of my drawer because I didn't like it. Now I carry it usually when I go to guard drill. It's got black aluminum handles, and I guess this is a plunge lock? Yeah, I'm not sure again, but it is an auto, so I think it's a plunge lock is what it's called. It's a pretty cool knife. This one gets gummed up really easily. You know, there are times, see if I can do it. It's lubed up pretty good right now, but there are times where if you don't really press that hard, it doesn't open all the way, and then sometimes it gets really gummed up or needs to be loosened because it won't open at all. Features an automatic opening system. Tip up, left and right carry only, so you cannot do tip down on this one. No big deal. This one came in at $149.95 at KnifeCenter.com. This is the aluminum handle version. I think the G10 model is actually more expensive. This one's got a nice glass breaker on the back of it too. The only real con to this one is the handle just feels kind of clunky to me. It's kind of big. But then I say that, and then the ergonomics actually are really good. The way the belt clip is positioned, like you can almost not even feel it when you index the knife versus say that one's pretty good. But I imagine if you flip this to tip up carry, that might change a little bit. But yeah, just another option. That's the only auto I have in the bunch. Pretty cool knife. You know, autos are legal. I'm not sure where in the country, but they're legal in Nevada now, so I guess the cool factor has gone down a little bit. Next knife, SOG Trident, assembled in the USA as per KnifeCenter.com. I don't know what that means. I'm going to venture to say, because it's AUS-8 steel, that it was actually made in Taiwan, but I could be wrong. This is another spring-assisted opening. This is the SOG Trident. This blade is 3 3/4 inches, AUS-8 steel with tiger stripe coating. Handle is textured glass reinforced nylon with the piston locking system. I think that's something similar to the Spyderco Manix 2. I could be wrong on that one. Again, it features a assisted opening. This one's got a strap cutter on it, which actually works, believe it or not. It works really well. Maybe not for strap, but like for 550 cord, which I thought was pretty cool. Tip up and left, tip up, left, and upright carry. You cannot switch this to make it tip down. This one came in at $73.95. KnifeCenter.com. A couple cons to this one. When I first got this, I flipped it open the first time, and I always do a little test to check out the blade play, and this was really, really bad. It was horrible, and I was overseas at the time, and believe it or not, I didn't have an Allen key that would fit the pivot screw, and I bought this, played with it for a couple of days, decided I couldn't stand the blade play, and I went and I got the Griptilian. Kind of a shitty way to waste 75 bucks. But now it is a pretty cool knife. I do like it. I'm actually going to give this to one of my soldiers this upcoming drill weekend. Again, $73.95 at KnifeCenter.com. Blade play, so yeah, that's fixed. No big deal now. The one thing I do not like about it is this incredibly deep, incredibly tight pocket clip. It's very difficult. It was very difficult to get out of my pocket. I guess an emergency situation, that's a bad deal. EDC, not a super big deal. Ergonomics though, it's a nice size handle. This one actually feels really good in the hand. Again, the pocket clip's kind of a non-factor, so that's pretty cool. All right, next up, this is an oldie. This is the CRKT M21-14SF. The blade is 3.875 inches. That's a beast for an everyday carry knife. I bought this for deployment back in 2011, and because I've had CRKTs, kind of always had CRKTs. I really like them. I like the way they look. Once I started learning blade steels, I kind of decided I don't like AUS-8. I know I just said I like this one, which, you know, for EDC it's good to go, but this particular knife I have never been able to keep sharp. I swear, I'll sharpen it and it sits in my pocket for a couple days, and I pull it out and I feel like it's already dulled on me. I do like the knife, maybe I'm just not doing a good job at sharpening it. Anyways, 3.875 inches, AUS-8 steel with a titanium nitrate finish. That's why I said I'm pretty sure this knife is made in Taiwan. It doesn't list it on Knife Center. Usually it'll say imported if they just don't want to tell you where. But because it is AUS-8, I'm pretty sure it's made in Taiwan. That's my best guess. Handles are aluminum. It's got a liner lock, and it features the auto lock system. It's got this crazy safety here that you have to engage along with the liner to close it. A lot of people hate that. When I used to hand this knife out when somebody wanted to borrow one or borrow it, they would always hand it back to me and be like, "Dude, close that for me." Well, dude, buy your own knife. This features tip up, tip down, left and right carry. And I guess I can't hate the tip down very much because I've never changed this one. I've had this one since 2011. This one came in at $86.95 at KnifeCenter.com. And the cons, again, it kind of dulls fast. There is minor blade play with this. I went to do a job changing out a pump, and the dude I went to do the job for, or to assist, didn't bring a knife, so he needed to borrow mine, and he was cutting through this, you know, tape, and he was nicking it on the metal, he was prying with it, and I'm just looking at it, and he's like, he was one of my buddy's dads, so I was just like, just shut up. So I let him do it. It is a pretty good testament, though. This knife got its ass kicked all day long, and it's still ticking. The finish, even though it looks pretty scraped up now, has withstood a lot. I really do like this knife. Another bad thing about this one, if this is an issue for you, is this really big. This could be intimidating or threatening if you're just in the EDC environment or in the office. Luckily, I work in a military environment. It doesn't really matter what I carry. So, Next up is the Victorinox one-hand trekker. I'm going to a survival school in the spring, and this is the knife that they recommend, so I figure why not, I'll get it. The main blade on this knife is 3 inches, and like I said, I went through Knife Center on everything. I don't know exactly where this knife is made. I'm pretty sure Swiss made, and I'm relatively certain, no, I'm not certain, I had to Google this one. And not a lot of people seem to know, and there were multiple opinions, so I'm just going to go with a Sandvik-like or equivalent steel. The handle is polyamide, if I'm pronouncing that right, and it's got a liner lock. Now the liner lock only exists for the main blade, just the main blade. All the other tools, it features a bunch of tools, it's a Swiss Army knife, all the other tools are just friction? I don't know. Anyways, $49.99 knifecenter.com. My only con for this, I would like to see a carry system. If not a clip, then maybe, you know, a belt pouch or something like that. Very good knives though. Prepared Mind 101, Dave Canterbury, a couple other people, you know, they pimped this knife pretty good, so I'm actually really glad that I got it. Next up is the Buck 112 Ranger, made in the USA. 3-inch blade, 420 high carbon steel. From what I understand, Buck has got like an exclusive heat treat to 420. I've skinned, you know, quite a few animals with a Buck 113 Ranger skinner, I think it's called. I have no problem with it. The 420 that Buck kicks out, I'm fine with it. A lot of people say it dulls super fast. I don't have a problem sharpening knives. I enjoy sharpening knives. I've never had a situation where my buck knife failed to finish processing one animal. And I think that's plenty to expect out of a knife. Handle is walnut with brass bolsters, and it's got a lock back. This one features pure awesomeness. This is probably my favorite knife of all time. This and the Buck 110. Probably my favorite knives of all time. I think these knives are gorgeous. This one does come with a belt pouch. It's just a leather belt pouch. It's fine. May not be ideal for EDC, but I don't have a problem with it. I have no cons with this knife whatsoever. This one came in at $48.95 at knifecenter.com. I've seen these go for like as low as like $35, I think, at Walmart, and that's for the 110. What was I going to say about this one? I forgot. Anywho, Buck 112 Ranger, classic. Alright, next up, the K-Bar Folding Dozier. This is a 3-inch blade made of AUS 8A steel with some form of black coating. This one for sure is made in Taiwan. Handles are Zytel with a lockback. Features simplicity. I think this is a great knife. These are really good. This one comes in at $20, and I own 4 of these. I just like these. I throw them in a pack. Forget about them. I actually had to find this one to do this this little video here. Tip up, left and right carry, and you cannot adjust that. The only con to this knife, it doesn't flip. I tried flipping this one time, and it's like the blade came halfway out, my finger kept going, I sliced my finger, it was ugly. I mean, it comes open easy enough. Like I said, there's certain things I look for in EDCs, certain things I don't. Being able to flip open isn't one of those things I look for. Again, $19.95 at knifecenter.com. Cool thing about these come in 2 different blade profiles, 2 different knife sizes, and like 10 different colors. You know, tan, black, blue, orange, zombie green. I guess that wasn't really 10. Anyway, I think this is an awesome knife. Last on the docket, and I just threw this one in here. I bought this one for my girlfriend. This is an Opinel number 7. This is made in Savoy, France. It's a 3.1-inch blade, 12C27 Sandvik stainless steel. The handle is purple beechwood, Viroblock safety ring. It's kind of unique. I don't think it makes a very good EDC, but when you have that lock turned, you can't pull the blade out. Turn the lock, open the knife. If you're just going to cut something real quick, it's a done deal, but if you're going to leave it out for a little bit, you twist that throat collar, and that locks the blade. Kind of a cool feature. I have seen some other knives that are like that, very similar all the way around. Don't know who makes them. No pocket clip for this one. And the cons, this is a $17 knife. There's no cons, you know, like I couldn't see putting a belt clip on this, putting a pouch on it, serrations, extra tools. I think for what it is, for $17, that's fine. That's awesome. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the 10 knives I just kind of discussed, overall bests here for value, I've got the K-Bar Dozier coming in at $20. This is kind of like, I guess my fascination with this knife is what people have with Mora. I think it's an awesome product for $20. That's, you know, that's nothing. You buy a handful of these, throw them in your bag. Best for multifunction, obviously, is the Swiss Army Trekker. It's got a saw, screwdrivers, bottle openers, toothpick. You know the deal. It's a Swiss Army knife. Best fit and finish. This one, for me, came down to 3. It came down to the Benchmade, the Spyderco, and the Zero Tolerance. For the simple fact that the Spyderco's got that wiggle, small wiggle in the blade, and the ZT had to be taken apart and packed with grease. The Spyderco Paramilitary 2, there's just nothing wrong with it. Nothing. I love it. So that one's going to get the Fit and Finish award. Sexiest, Buck 112 Ranger. All day, every day. All day, every day. I love this thing. And the overall best for EDC, my opinion, doesn't matter what, if you want it with serrations, you don't want it with serrations, coated, not coated, tiger stripe, not tiger stripe, is the Benchmade, the Zero Tolerance, and the Spyderco. I think if you can move past the quirks that I don't like, you know, having to mess with a couple of things, having to fix a couple of things, or not even fix, just adjust. You know, I think those are the top 3 for sure. I don't really dive too much into Tops knives or SE knives. I'm not saying they're bad knives at all. I just think for being $10.95, regardless of the heat treat, I think Tops is incredibly overpriced. I mean, this coming from a guy who buys, I have like 70 some odd knives. I bought like 50 this last year, something like that, something ridiculous. I know being super cheap about it, saying I don't want to pay that money. I don't see, between SE Tops and K-Bar Boker knives, I don't see that big of a difference which would warrant me spending that extra money when I can just go get Bokers, which I did. I bought a bunch. I'm not a big fan of Ontario folding knives. I just don't like the way they look, to be honest with you. Who else is out there? Boker. I think Boker's got some really good looking stuff. I haven't really jumped into those yet. I don't really know much about their knives, except I think they look sexy. What other folders are out there? I don't know. But in the comment section, post if you like any of these, what kind of knives you carry. I want to know about serrations, to be honest with you. I mean, I know what they're for, but I want to know what you guys use serrations for, or if you choose to have them on your EDC knives, and how often you use them. I know it's for cutting straps and rope and stuff like that. You know, I've been around for a minute. I've never really had the need to cut a rope like that a plain blade couldn't do. That could be just me. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to know if you guys use serrations. Regardless, though, post in the comment section what's your #1 preferred EDC knife. As always, thank you guys very much for stopping by. I hope this video didn't drag on too long. It looks like we're coming up on 30 minutes here. Again, appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff that Paul tells you to do, and you guys take care. Thank you.